Okay, so I should have gotten something to drink before I started the second video, but this is part two of what I was talking about. So this is part two, but part two is very different. Part two is mostly for the ladies, right? It's mostly for the ladies. Like I said, I've only been in this type of relationship. I'm the girl, there's a guy, I don't know anything else. So I've never been on the opposite end of it. So, ladies, if you act like the man, he's going to treat you like one. And I'm saying this as respectfully as possible on both sides because I've done it. I've done it. I think I've done it in every single relationship that I've been in. Why? Because I was raised masculine. I was raised very masculine. I was my dad would be like, "Oh, she's my first son," which is fucked up to say to a little girl, but that's what I was told. So everything was Karma did cheerleading, I did basketball. So it was always a very sports oriented, you know, softball. I hated it. It's like, oh my God, I wanted to be somewhere making a shirt. I wanted to be somewhere like learning how to sew. I wanted to do girly things, but I wanted to be with my dad. So I did manly things. I learned how to rewire a whole house, so that the TV, the cable in my parents' bedroom can play in the TV in my room, the kitchen, and the dining room. He had a lot of TVs, which was weird. But TVs also cost like $100 back then. But I digress. So it's like I know how to use tools that a lot of women don't know how to use. I went to aviation high school. I my favorite thing was welding. I loved welding. But anyway, and but all in all, there was always this cream puff girly girl that wants to, like, if I could have made jewelry back then, I would have been so excited. Like, my younger self is having a fucking field day with everything that I do. I paint, I do a whole bunch of stuff, I make books, decks, and all this stuff. This is what I was supposed to be doing. But it was at the same time, I could be like, oh my God. But at the same time, it taught me discipline. It taught me drive. It taught me go get it. It taught me no one's coming to save you. That's what it taught me. It taught me, like, you gotta make shit happen. No one's gonna make shit happen. You gotta make shit happen. You gotta go get it. That's what growing up masculine instead of feminine is like, because I've been around girls who were baby by their dads, and like girl dads, I don't mess well with. I don't really mess well with girl dads because you guys have a more of a, oh, type of attitude. We're like, yo, what is your problem? We're more aggressive. I can always tell who was either closer to or trained by their dad, because there's a Aries fire moving forward, sun type of shit when it comes to you being trained by a man. And honestly, I'm happy that that happened, because I have three men that I couldn't teach how to be men, but I could teach them how to lead. Does that make sense? Like, I couldn't teach them, like, their fathers left. I couldn't teach them how to be a man because I've never been a man, but I could teach you how to lead a squad of people. I could teach you how to go get what you want. You understand? I could teach you how to speak to people in a way that you can convey information and they'll pay you for it. You understand? I did all those things because I grew up masculine. And it's like I've only been trained by men. It's very weird, but I've only been trained by men. My leaders, the people who I've served, they've always been men. I've only been under one woman, and she was extremely masculine. She was extremely masculine. Now, I'm saying this for a reason, because I don't like telling my business, but I'm saying this for a reason. If you act like a man, he's going to treat you like one. And for me, I could have said, and I did, and I did. I could have said, well, this is just who I am. You know, is it though? Like I always felt that little soft voice in the back of my head when I always like, no, but this is who I am. Take it or leave it. This is who I am. And I'm like, I hear, but is it though? Is it? And I'm sitting there going, who the fuck? Like, who the hell is that? So guys, it's like you hear it and you feel it like, nah, are you really like this? Or are you like this because you have to be like this? Those are two different things. Survival is one thing, and that survival thriving, because you'll mistaken, I did not, I'm gonna use me as an example. I mistaken that there wasn't an in between survival and thriving. There's an in between. I didn't know that. Survival, you do things to survive the situation and to get where you need to get in a situation, right? Then eventually you're thriving and you're off to the races, right? I found out there's a go between, right? The go between or the pivot is survival thriving, because what's happening is you're thriving and you're doing well, but you're doing it with survival still attached to it. So you're going, but you're not going up the way you should be going. And you're like, yo, what the fuck? Why isn't this working? It's not working because that's not who you are. And that's what changed my mindset. When I realized, oh shit, I don't have to be this strong, stern, blah blah blah. And it was because I met my commissioner, Preston Niblack. I'll say his name on air. Preston Niblack, best guy I've ever had the pleasure of working for. He was the one that was like, girl. he would be like, girl, it's okay. And I was like, oh, I made a mistake. He was like, you can make mistakes. It's okay. He was like, it's okay. And it's like he's a cancer Leo. I love him. But yeah, so shout out to Andrew. But yeah, so it's like it was like this. And I was just like, then the girl in the back that kept, remember that girl in the back that kept going, are you though? She was like, how does that feel? And I was just like, oh, it feels so much easier. I don't know about any other woman, but for me, staying in my masculine energy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for decades was exhausting when I put that shit down. When I put it down, I slept for days. I would just wake up, go to work, go back to sleep. I would get up, go back to sleep. Get up, go back to sleep. And it was just like it was bad. It was bad because I was like, yo, is something wrong? And they're like, no, your body is finally catching up to all the rest that it should have had, but it didn't, because you were in between surviving and thriving. You were in surviving thriving mode. So you were just going and producing and producing and producing and producing, and you were producing, well, for me, I was producing from my masculine, gotta get it, gotta push forward, gotta get it done. You understand? That's what I was doing it with. And that wasn't how I should be doing it. And the way I'm doing it now, it's like, have at it. I get into little spats here and there. I catch myself getting into little spats here and there. But then after that, I'm like, I use it to find whatever needs to be cleared, because I feel if I'm being triggered because there's something there. If there's nothing there to be triggered, you won't get triggered and you really wouldn't care. You have to clean that stuff out. You got to scrub it. You got to get the loops, the residue, all that stuff out with the energy clearing. And anytime I got into a tiff or an argument, like that day, I would start writing it out, do the charts, find out why I reacted the way I did. Because I obviously reacted because something was there, and it's always there. I can't even say 9 times, it's always there. 10 out of 10, it's always there, you know. And I realized that being in that constant masculine movement, it's exhausting. And then the funny thing was, I didn't realize that I did not know how to receive. I didn't know how to receive stuff, one, without being suspicious of it. Because what used to happen to me, well, I don't know if it happens to you, but what used to happen to me was people would be nice to me in the beginning. They would be very sweet to me, very kind. They would have me open up. They would have me drop my guard. You understand? You see the words that I'm using? They would have me drop my guard, and then it's like when I start to reciprocate, it stops. And I'm sitting there going, "What is happening?" And it's just like, why is this happening? And then I start blaming myself, and I start worrying and all this other stuff. I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. Because if you notice, I was like, they made me. They did that. No, I could see it. I'd be like, okay, turn the dial down. You know what I was going to say? Turn that dial down. Okay, no problem. Because I got shit to do. I am not a non-busy woman. I have a lot going on. I look like I don't, but I have a lot going on, and I have a lot of moving parts that I'm trying to connect and make this whole fucking aircraft carrier actually get fuel, because we got the jet on aircraft carrier. Now we need to get the crew. We need to get the co-pilot. We need to get the I don't know if it's a co-pilot. Is it a co-pilot that's on a ship? Anyway, going off topic. But yeah, so if you, I learned, when I act like the man, he's going to treat you like one. And I say that not that he's going to yell at you or be mean to you or whatever, but if you're constantly the one going to get it, he's going to eventually let you go get it. Especially when he goes and gets it and it's not right, or the to the caliber that you went, that you can go and get it, and you're like, what the hell is this? Because you're masculine, you're not going to be like, oh babe, it's okay. Your feminine is like, oh, you try to like, oh, it's okay, it's not that serious, we'll figure it out or whatever. The masculine and the dad is like, yo, what is this? Did you check this before you left? Does that sound familiar? Because I've done that. It's like, what is this? Like, why does this look like this? And it's like, the masculine really doesn't have the time to, like, it's like, fuck your feelings. It doesn't have the time to like baby you. So it's like, that's why now I'm a blend of the two, but I'm more in my receptive era era than like completely balanced, because I've tried the balance before, where it was both balanced. I felt like I was balanced, masculine and feminine energy, and I didn't like it. I was still really tired. I don't know how you guys do it. I give men credit. This is a lot. Yo, walking around and activating your testosterone and all this other stuff, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I wasn't built for that. Look at my hands. I have little hands. I wasn't built for this. And this work stuff, I wasn't built for. I was built to be paid to exist and just talk and just do things and make pretty things. That was what I was built for. But I give men credit. It's like, and I watch my boys, and not even my boys are men now. I watch the men in my life, and I'm just like, God, that looks exhausting. You understand? Because you do have to lead. Because for me, I acted like the man in the relationship. I acted like I wore the pants in the relationship because I felt like they could not lead. And it's like, I feel like I let you lead and you led us into a ditch. So I got to get us the fuck out of this ditch so we can go do what we got to do. But I see that I didn't do it right. For me, I didn't do it right. Granted, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now. I didn't have the clearings that I have now, but I didn't do it right. because I did it the way exactly how I said it. We're getting out of this ditch. You understand? So it's like that. I can see how that would emasculate a person and make the person go, fuck you then. You do it. All right. You want me to be the bitch? I'll be the bitch and I'll sit down and I won't do shit. And that's exactly what happened. So that's what I'm saying. The responsibilities may not be equal, but they do need to be fair. The responsibilities in the household, in the relationship, they might not be equal. He might pay for dinner anytime you go out. He might pay for whatever, and that's what you require. You're like, no, I don't want to pay for anything when I go out. I want you to take me out. It's like that's. And he's like, okay, that's fine. It may not be equal because you don't take anybody out to dinner, but you cook dinner at home. It may not be equal, but it's fair because you do something for him too. And it's not just you getting stuff and he doesn't get stuff. Does that make sense? But with these relationships, that person is doing everything. And the other person's just sitting there watching them, just watching them spin, just watching them spin. And it's just like, and then they're like, oh, aren't you gonna help me? And they're like, no. Like, you're doing everything. And then when I try to do something, you tell me I'm doing it wrong because I don't do it the way you want me to do it. And it's just like, but there's something with that line, because I've been told that and I've always wanted to tell people what I thought. That line, I you're mad because I didn't do it the way you would have done it. For me, like I say, I can't talk about anyone else. For me, then and now, I can feel the energy that you put in, and you can see the energy and effort someone put in to doing something. Does that make sense? That's why women get upset. They don't get upset because you had a little spillage or whatever. It was not as nice as she would have liked it to be. We can get past that. But when it looks like you didn't give a damn about putting it together or doing it, and you just threw it together because you really didn't give a shit about it, that energy stays on whatever you touched. Whatever you did, whatever you touched, whatever you did for her or for the family, it's there's going to be an energy signature on it. And she's going to look at it and she's going to see it. And this, I don't care if she is the most non-spiritual person. I don't care if she's super religious. All women have some type of sonar for shit. And I'm telling you, and it's something that we've had since we were born. I could scan a person at 3 years old and know she shouldn't be touching my face. I got smacked for it because I looked at her like, bitch, don't touch my face. She touched my face, and I was like, bitch, don't touch my face. I didn't say it. My mother went, bah, she was quick with it too. And I was like, oh, it was that day and age. I was like, damn, that shit hurt. I looked at her like, ugly bitch. She touched my, yo, I am as old as I am, and I'm still remember that. I still was, trapped emotion, no, but it was like, don't touch me. I could feel people's, and she didn't like my mother. She didn't like my mother because I felt it. That's why when she touched me, I was like, bitch, don't touch me. I was like, bitch, don't touch me. Don't touch me. You don't like my mother. I would kill people for my mom. Even now, don't fuck with my mother. I don't give a fuck what she did to me. Don't fuck with my mother. I'll come for you. Don't make me come for you. But anyway, yeah, she didn't like my mother, and I felt it. I felt it. That's why I looked at her like that. And I was just like, and then you got the audacity to touch me? I'm back. But yeah, anyway. So I don't remember what I was talking about. I had flashback. Ooh, flashbacks. I gotta clear that. There's something I gotta clear. No, nothing I gotta clear. But that was crazy. But yeah, so women have this sonar intuition, and it's usually on point. So it's like you cannot tell us, yeah, I did my best. And you look at it, you're like, I know for an absolute fact that is not your best work. That is not your best work, because then you'll see him do something else for himself and it's done impeccably. That's not okay, you guys. And I told my men that. The men in my life, I told them that. I was like, you cannot do that. The same energy that you give for your shit, you got to make sure you do for her shit, and vice versa. If you're having an award ceremony, she needs to be there. If you're having something that's going on, she needs to be there. If the same way you show up for her is the same way you she needs to show up for you. So I've taught both sides. So it's like, you know what's funny? And I'll probably say this, not like haha funny, but I probably say this in a couple of videos. If I didn't have boys, I probably would be a salty bitch. I'm telling you that right now. I'd be like, fuck men. I would be like, fuck men. But I have boys. I have 3 boys. I cannot afford to hate men, because then that means I hate my babies. And I would never hate my baby. They're a pain in the ass sometimes. Oh my God. I understand sometimes why, you got to choke them out sometimes. Like, oh, it's crazy. These boys are crazy. But they're all going to be over 6 feet. So it's like I had to like rough them up and make sure they know mom's crazy. Don't she's from the 90s. She's Gen X. Don't mess with mom. Mom's nuts. But anyway, I if I didn't have boys, I probably would hate men. I With the experiences that I've had with the men that I've had experiences with, I would fucking hate men. I would absolutely hate men. I would probably curse them too. I would probably be like, don't open no fucking doors for me. I probably would have acted like that. So I'm actually very happy that I had boys, because they made me not get jaded. Does that make sense? It's like they stop me from being that all men are thing, because they're my boys, and I know for a fact that I've trained them differently. I've trained them differently. And when they're messing up, I pull them to the side. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You understand? And I'm like, don't do that. Do it this way. This is how you do it. And the men that I've had in my life, that I've been in relationship with, they didn't have a mother's guidance. They None of them did. They all Damn, that might be a pattern. Is that a curse? That might be a pattern. They all had issues with their mother. And it was odd. They all had issues with their mom. And I that was weird. That's easy. This is what I look like when I get an epiphany. That was kind of weird. Yeah, they didn't have a mom that taught them, hey, this is how you treat a woman. Like, you don't treat her like that. And like, I'll give you for instance, my oldest Matthew, his girlfriend, she cannot get wet. No, that sounds so bad. Sorry, that's not what I meant. He doesn't, when it's raining. It sounded so dumb. That sounded so dumb. And you know what? I edit my videos, so that sounds terrible. Anytime since they started dating, and it's been, I think it's like 2 to 3 years now since they started dating, she drives up to the thing. If it's raining, he all you hear is him coming down the stairs. Door open, go outside. He has an umbrella open for her to walk into the house. And he takes her out and walks her back out with the house. That, to me, I'm like, that's dope. That's dope as shit. Like, that's really good. I get wet, but I digress. I get wet, but I digress. But yeah, so that's the mom in me. But anyway, it's really cool to watch, because you know that that's good. That's a good thing to do. And what I whispered in his ear like years ago, what I whispered in his ears, I said, once you start something, you have to do it forever. Does that make sense? I told him, and he was like, no, of course, of course. And that's just Matthew. That's how he talks. He's like, of course, of course. And because what happens is, for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, when I was in relationships with people, it would be great in the beginning. It's like the honeymoon phase. It would be great in the beginning, and he would do things, he would say things, he would send this, and he would do this, and then it stopped. And I was just like, what is happening? And I realized I was too much in my masculine. I was way too much. I started doing everything. I started doing everything. I started like just, and me, once I learn something, it's a wrap. You understand? I'll turn it into a business, get logos made and stuff, like, or not even get them made, make logos for it and stuff. So it's like, because I was trained to be masculine. And it's like now I use it because I have my own business. I have to be in that masculine energy where it's like bank accounts and blah blah and all this other stuff, but I am learning that softness is where it's at. Being hard and driven is good, but tone it down a bit. Tone it, and not tone it down a bit because, oh my God, you're making them uncomfortable. Tone it down because it's exhausting, sis. You're not meant to be in that energy. You're not meant to be in that. That is not our creative energy. It actually stagnated my magic. It made my intuition dull. I couldn't hear my spirit team when I was in that state. I couldn't I couldn't perform things that I do effortlessly now. Now listening to people is just effortless. Before I used to be like, what do you need? Like, and it was like that was not cool. That was not cool. So it's just like, but now it's more along the lines of, what do you need? And I listen and I give advice and I go and I flow. It's more like a flow. It's a flow of energy. It's a dance. Before it was schedules and pads and trying to get shit done, and it was exhausting. It was absolutely exhausting. So if you remember what I said, if you act like a dude, he's going to treat you like one. He's going to treat you like his homeboy. I'm not saying not to be friends with your guy, but be careful that you don't turn into his homeboy. I've done that too. You understand? You just the sidekick that just goes everywhere he goes. There's no she's my lady. There's no high empress. There's no delicacy or like delicateness towards you because you his homeboy. And it's like, I thought the more I was like, hey, no, he, from what I experienced, like I said, I don't know about all men. I know what I experienced, that was the running theme, because I looked at it. I had to look at my traumas. I had to go back and see what the fuck happened, and I am not looking so much so through only the lens of they did this to me. Does that make sense? I'm looking at more of the lens of, okay, bitch, what part did you play in this? Because we can't fix, nor do we care about their part. We know what they did. We know how it felt. We unpack that. Now we got to figure out why you did what you did, so we can figure out what needs to be cleared, so we can move that stuff out, so when the new person comes in, we don't got to do this shit. Because I refuse to have the same relationship again. I refuse. I will drop you like a bad habit. I am telling you that right now. I refuse to have one of any of the relationships I had before now. I am not friends with anybody that I am not with right now. I am not friends with them at all. You understand? So it's like, I refuse to get into another relationship, a partnership, where it's just, I'm stressed out, I'm in my masculine energy, I have to defend shit. I will leave you flat. I don't have time. I don't have time nor energy for it. If you're going to show up, show up. If you're going to be here, put in the work, because I'm going to be doing the same. toe in toe. We're going to be doing this together. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the games. I don't have time for the I'll text you when I have time. I don't have time for that shit. I don't. I am a busy woman, and I can say that with my full chest. I am a busy woman, and I do not have time for little baby bullshit. I do not. I don't have time for it because it sends me into that masculine energy that I don't want to be in. I do not want to be in that. I am choosing not to be in that energy. It stifles my magic. It stifles my brain power. It stifles my energy. It makes my body hurt. I'm like, no. Sis, your body probably hurts because of the person that's in your bed. Ooh, that was bad. Sorry. But it came out. It was for someone specific. It's not me because there ain't nobody in my bed. But I digress. But yeah. So that's pretty much it for this episode of Divorce Chronicles. I'm your host, Kaila. Stay blessed. Deuces, and we out.